She didn't flinch. If that were me, she'd already regret the first word. Not when the finger came inches from her face. Not when the woman in the MAGA hat yelled, "You people think rules don't apply to you?" The dock creaked. A dog barked once. No one moved. Miranda adjusted the crooked wooden sign, pressed her palm flat against it, held it there. The sun hit her face. The red from the hat bled into her eyes. She didn't blink. She watched. Not the woman. The lie beneath her voice. Something had shifted, not in Miranda, in the air. She didn't come here for the view, or the peace, or the community potlucks every second Sunday. She came because this dock was the last place her husband spoke in full sentences. The only place he still felt like himself. Even after the diagnosis started taking pieces away, he'd sit on that bench, point to where the water dipped near the cattails and say, "That's where the good ones bite." Miranda never fished before that. Now she doesn't miss a morning, the rod in her hand, not a hobby. It was his final birthday gift, the carved wooden bird hanging below the reel. That came from the wreck, his keychain. Still smells like smoke when it rains. She doesn't talk about him, doesn't tell the neighbors. Most of them don't even know his name. But she remembers every signature on the property deed, every HOA bylaw, every clause they buried in fine print when they rezoned the common areas. She's read them twice because she knew this day would come. They thought she was just another widow with too much time, too quiet, too soft, easy to push around. But Miranda Keene made a career out of staying quiet just long enough to let someone hang themselves with their own words. She never raised her voice. She didn't have to. Back then, in her old world, she drafted termination letters, handled board-level exits. When hedge funds went to war, they sent her first. She never needed noise. She just waited. Waited for a misstep. Waited for the moment someone proved they didn't know what they were talking about. That's what she's doing now. One hand on the pole, one hand resting on the wooden sign they just twisted out of place. Behind her, the screen door creaks. Her daughter steps out. 5 years old, eyes still puffy from sleep. "Mom?" Miranda raises a single finger, not to scold, to mark the sound. Because just then, from across the water, she's violating Code 14 again. Karen's voice slices through the air. Miranda doesn't turn. Her eyes are on the ripples. A fish stirs near the surface. The bird on the keychain spins once, then stops, like it heard enough. Wednesday morning, she heard the zip ties before she saw the sign. That clean plastic zerk sound. Too precise to be random, too early to be casual. 3 men in HOA polo shirts stood at the edge of the dock. One held a ladder, another held a clipboard, the third, staple gun. They didn't speak to her, didn't nod, didn't look her way. They posted the sign with the kind of care you reserve for wedding decorations or courtroom exhibits. Laminated, red border, text-centered, bold. Community violation, improper use of public property, HOA Regulation 14.3. Below it, a signature, S. Mercer, perfect cursive, scanned in, not signed in person. Miranda didn't stand, didn't move. She just watched her own shadow shift slightly as the new sign blocked the sun. When they were done, they gave each other a little nod, backed away like it was a job well done. Not enforcement, performance. For the people watching through their blinds, for the group chat. One of them said quietly, "Looks better already." Then they left. Another sign followed the next day, bigger. Fishing temporarily prohibited, community under review. Same red zip ties, same signature, same silence. No vote, no meeting, no explanation. But it didn't matter, because it looked official. And when things look official, most people don't ask questions. That afternoon, a boy rode past on a bike, 8, maybe 9. He slowed at the sign, looked at Miranda, looked back at his mom. "Are we not allowed to fish anymore?" he asked. The woman hesitated, eyes flicking toward Miranda like the answer might be dangerous. "I guess someone made a mess or something," she muttered, then pulled her son along. Miranda still didn't move, but her hand tightened around the pole. Not hard, just enough. A duck drifted through the water nearby. The reflection of the red-bordered sign stretched across the surface, warped by ripples and half covered by the shadow of a tree. Only Miranda noticed that the post holding the sign wasn't level, off by 3 degrees, maybe 4. She filed it away. Not because it was wrong, but because things that aren't straight don't stay standing. Friday night. Miranda stood in the dim garage, a single bulb swaying above her. She pulled out a folder wrapped in wax paper. Old, yellowing, smelled like cedar and dust. Inside, deed transfer, parcel 6, A, non-municipal water use clause, 1993. Her husband's name in pencil, bottom corner. Private access grandfathered Raymond Keene. He had circled it once, a light, almost forgettable gesture, but she hadn't forgotten. She didn't scan it. She photocopied it, low contrast, unedited. Let the age show. Let it feel real. Then she tacked it to the corkboard behind the garage door. Not on the fridge, not in the office. There, where she could see it when she came in with mud on her boots. Saturday morning, the HOA came back. Not the same sign, a new one. Bigger, more polished. It read, "Community under beautification. No fishing until further notice." Not a ban, a beautification effort, wrapped in nice words, legal padding. Miranda watched from the dock. Same position, same rod, same silence. One of the younger board members, he couldn't have been 30, lingered. He stared at her for a second, then walked closer, hands in his pockets. Voice low, almost kind. "Mrs. Keene, are you aware of the new guidelines?" She didn't speak, just nodded once. Her answer wasn't her mouth. It was the tiny GoPro mounted under the rod handle, black tape over the light. No sound, no warning, just recording. Not for YouTube, not for public outrage. This was something else. Evidence, tone, faces, order of arrival, who gave instructions. She'd already logged the date the first sign appeared, already photographed the angle of the post, already printed the HOA's email announcing community cooperation. She didn't need to catch them breaking the law. She needed them following it wrong. A neighbor passed by, an older woman, slow steps, leash in hand. She paused near the sign, looked at it, then looked at Miranda. Didn't speak, just nodded. The first nod she'd seen in weeks. Miranda's eyes dropped to the deed copy in her hand. The rain stain from last night had bled over half the page. The words, community easement, were blurred, but 2 others remained crystal clear. Private access. She folded the paper slowly, slipped it into a waterproof pouch, tucked it beneath the bench. Let them keep coming. She was ready now. Sunday afternoon. HOA barbecue. Tables lined up across the common lawn. Folding chairs, crock pots. American flags printed on napkins. The HOA banner stretched wide across the back fence. Red, white, clean. The kind of clean that makes you nervous. Then, the voice. "I'm Sylvia Mercer, president of the HOA." She held a mic in one hand, a folded sheet in the other, hair pinned tight. MAGA hat front and center. Her smile didn't move her eyes. Some of our longer-term residents seemed confused about the beautification policy. So, I'd like to clarify. Soft claps, mostly polite. Miranda sat at the far end, near the edge of the lawn, near the dock, concealed in plain sight. Her daughter beside her, chewing a pretzel stick. She didn't raise her head, didn't move, but her hand slid into the side pocket of her canvas bag. Sylvia unfolded the paper. HOA Regulation 14.3, effective immediately. Fishing suspended in the community lake to preserve property value. Miranda placed her glass of iced tea down, gently, then stood, walked up without a word, passed behind the dessert table, slipped a single document onto the folding table near the mic. Didn't say a thing, didn't make eye contact. A group of HOA interns, kids barely out of college, crowded around the table. Lucas picked it up, read it, his brows pulled in. Wait, this says Parcel 6A has grandfathered private access? This is from 2006? Silence spread like water across the lawn. Sylvia turned, stepped forward, took the paper from Lucas with a practiced laugh. This is old paperwork. She's trying to stir things up. The lake belongs to the community. We voted, remember? A beat, then a voice, clear, old, from the crowd. I never got a vote. It was the woman with the dog. She wasn't smiling. Sylvia's face stiffened. She turned the mic off, leaning in toward Lucas, barely above a whisper. Take that paper down. No need for everyone to see it. But the live stream hadn't ended. The HOA was broadcasting the event to their internal Slack group, and Lucas, unsure, had forwarded the replay, accidentally, to the full community channel. By evening, the clip had been screen recorded 3 times, posted once, shared quietly. Miranda didn't need to explain a thing. She had only placed a piece of paper. Let the cracks speak for themselves. Monday, HOA called an emergency meeting. Clubhouse, 6 p.m. Subject, non-compliance by resident of parcel 6A. Miranda showed up. Wasn't required. She came anyway. The board sat in a half circle, folded arms, stiff backs. Sylvia walked in, last. Red suit, red hat, same tight smile. She stood without a mic. The board has agreed. Any resident continuing to fish will face an administrative fine of $1,500. Silence. Lucas didn't look up. Another board member exhaled sharply, opened his mouth, then closed it. Miranda didn't stand, didn't argue. She slid a printed screenshot to the center of the table. No label, no words. Just one image. Sylvia's Slack message circled in red. Take that paper down, no need for everyone to see it. Someone chuckled, low, unintentional, but loud enough to turn heads. Sylvia lunged forward, snatched the paper. Where did this come from? This is internal. It's not even legal. Miranda's voice, calm, first time speaking since the doc. Internal isn't outside the law. Another beat. Someone shifted in their seat. Then, a man in his 60s stood up, back row. Work jacket, trucker cap. Mrs. Keene, I fished that lake with your husband. Back in 2003. He looked at the board. It was his water, always was. Sylvia's fingers curled around the paper, her grip too tight, the edge tore, and below the tear, a second message peeked out. If the lake purchase leaks, I lose standing with the dev committee. No one spoke. They didn't have to. Miranda didn't press, didn't accuse. She just looked at the paper in Sylvia's hand, then down at the rules they tried to weaponize. No one fined her, no one moved forward with enforcement. They didn't vote, they didn't retract. They just stopped. She wasn't asking for victory. She only wanted it clear. They knew. They hid it. And now everyone else knew too. 1 week later, no announcements, no meetings, no apology letters. Just a morning. Cool air, faint clouds, leaves beginning to rust. Miranda walked her daughter down to the water. No fishing rod in hand, only a small wooden sign, freshly sanded. Letters carved, not printed. Lake Henry, forever open. Below it, in smaller script, in memory of H.K. She didn't speak. She knelt at the old post, the one that once held the "fish free or die" sign. The wood was crooked, leaning slightly. She didn't fix it. She nailed the new sign in, steady, slow. Didn't check if it was level. Let it lean. Let it hold its own weight. The wind picked up. Her daughter stood nearby, holding something folded in her hands. A worn cowboy hat, faded tan, too big for her. She placed it gently on the flat rock by the water's edge. Didn't say why, she just knew. Across the lake, a curtain moved, someone watching. But no one stepped out, no one waved. The trees rustled, the dock creaked, and near the shoreline, still there, the old MAGA hat, waterlogged, pressed into the mud. No one had picked it up. No one dared. The little girl looked at it, just for a moment, then stepped over it, carefully, deliberately. Miranda didn't look back, didn't wait for permission. She stood, brushed the dirt from her knees, and walked back up the hill, hand in hand with her daughter. The sign remained, no lights, no cameras, just wood. And silence. But that afternoon, the HOA chat went quiet. The group thread renamed itself, and by sunset, someone had taken down the "No Fishing" banner from the clubhouse fence. She hadn't won. She hadn't needed to. The lake was left the way it always should have been. Slightly crooked, entirely hers, and entirely his. Not everyone fights to win. Some just want no one to touch what they've guarded too long. Some things age better when left untouched. A wooden sign, a hat no one dares pick up, a name carved by hand, not machine. Miranda didn't argue, didn't shout, didn't need anyone to clap. She simply put something back where it always belonged. That's the thing about memory. It doesn't ask for approval. It asks to be preserved. Older people know this. The ones who keep coffee cans full of screws, who fold towels the same way for 40 years, who don't speak much, but always notice when something is out of place. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just a crooked post, left leaning on purpose. Sometimes it's a child stepping over a ruined thing, not to destroy it, but to show it no longer matters. The lake didn't change. The people around it did. Not all battles need a headline. Some victories come in stillness. A nod from a neighbor, a sign no one touches again. There's no glory in keeping what's yours, just a quiet kind of grace. There are things not worth winning, only worth keeping intact.